he dropped his eyes on that one.
The outside.
Big time hit and a fumble. And the Eagles have the football.
Wow.
That was a big time hit. Was it Trey Sullivan who made that hit?
From Shepard. You got an injured player. Trey Sullivan is 49. You're going to see him flash here. Watch the hit. Boom. That is not helmet to helmet because it's a person in possession running the football now. This is just a tackle. It's a vicious, tough, fair tackle.
This is not just a tackle as many people will think. This tackle could mean long-lasting harm for this player, because this could lead to a concussion, which many concussions will lead to CTE or other brain damages. But the NFL doesn't want us to see these brain damages or this truth about the sport. They don't want America to see the NFL and the sport as dangerous. They don't want the young people to see the sport and the NFL community as dangerous. So in this documentary, I will show you how the NFL is hiding this from us. I will show you the horrible effects of CTEs from some experts in this brain damage who discovered this disease and were hated by the NFL community. So, what is a concussion?
A concussion is a type of traumatic brain injury, or TBI, caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head, or by a hit to the body that causes your head and brain to move rapidly back and forth. This sudden movement can literally cause the brain to bounce around or twist in the skull, stretching and damaging the brain cells and creating chemical changes in the brain. What you might not know is that these chemical changes make the brain more sensitive to any increased stress or injury until it fully recovers.
That's exactly what happens in football. Because when they are defending, or when they are defending the quarterback, they have to tackle or have contact with another player, and when they tackle, they are going to tackle with their heads. So their heads is going to hit another player's head.
He can play any coverage you want. What addition he's been for Washington.
But what does this hit to the head causes? What are the effects of a concussion in a human? After a concussion, you may experience symptoms such as memory problems, confusion, drowsiness, dizziness, double vision or blurred vision, headache, vomiting, sensitivity to light or noise, balance problems, and a slow reaction to stimuli. Also, you can feel irritability, sensitive to light or noise, difficulty concentrating, and mild headaches. But the biggest problem you can have after a concussion is CTE. So what is CTE?
Lately, it's been difficult to talk about football without mentioning concussions. Why? Well, mounting concern over a disease called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, more commonly known as CTE. In the world of medicine, CTE is a relative newcomer. In football, we just learned about it 10 to 15 years ago. Here's what we can say. It's a progressive degenerative brain disease. It is like Alzheimer's. It can start with memory loss, mood swings, and difficulty in concentration, developing into progressive dementia, even possible thoughts of suicide. But unlike Alzheimer's, CTE can also result in significant aggression and lack of impulse control. The big difference, symptoms tend to begin much earlier in life, closer to your 40s instead of your 60s. In both diseases, there's no known cure.
But what are the effects of CTE? What does CTE cause?
So it depends on what happens and the severity of it. But generally the effects are on the brain, and they can be physical, they can be cognitive, they can be emotional, but it can affect the brain in different ways depending on the severity of it, which part of the brain gets affected, and there can be short-term effects or long-term effects.
But which will be like the emotional effects?
Emotional, sometimes it can affect your behavior and how you respond to different things. It can have an effect on your personality, where a person just changes, like how they are, and how they react to different situations.
So what the NFL is doing to prevent these concussions or the CTE? How are they changing the rules?
To solve it, and it seems like they're putting genuine efforts into it, but it just might not be possible. In theory, concussed players are no longer allowed to enter games. They've moved the kickoff 5 yards down the field, so a lot more kickoffs become touchbacks, so you don't have the high-speed impacts happen when the kicking team is trying to cover the kick and tackle the player. They've changed the rules in terms of head-to-head hits. On defense, you can't use your head or your helmet as a weapon. If you're a running back, you also can't lead with your head to hit other players' heads. Those are the easiest things to target. They're kind of the lowest hanging fruit. They can't get rid of concussions entirely, those rule changes. Some concussions happen on the most random incidental plays. I mean, you have these huge, fast guys running at high speed, so even if you ban specific types of hits, we're still seeing concussions happen with alarming frequency.
As we have saw, the NFL has been changed by the effect of the concussions, but those other sports are having the same effect as the NFL. Are they changing things from their sport to make it safer?
New findings this morning raising concerns about the risk of concussions, and not just for football players, now for soccer players as well. ABC's Jim Avila is in Washington with the story.
The most popular sport in the world. More American kids play soccer than tackle football or baseball. Long encouraged by parents as the safe alternative to its violent U.S. cousin. But this morning, it's linked to CTE, the very same repetitive head trauma disease seen in some pro football players. New evidence that one of soccer's most exciting plays can cause brain damage.
You have to be very careful when your son or daughter's playing soccer. You have to be very cognizant that they can injure their heads.
It is this move, the header, that appears so dangerous for youngsters. Players typically head the ball up to 12 times in a single game. Watch again, that black and white sphere traveling up to 50 miles an hour. And in soccer, there's nothing between skull and leather.
So we asked Mr. Álvaro González Alzate about how the concussions are also seen in soccer and how these affect the soccer athlete. And this is what he told us.
Claro, de acuerdo a la gravedad de la falta, de acuerdo a la gravedad de la lesión y el lugar donde supuestamente esté concentrada, puede afectar en el futuro la vida privada y la vida personal de exdeportistas y de, en este caso, de futbolistas. El fútbol es un deporte de contacto y se dan muchos casos en el mundo de deportistas que no solamente han tenido que dejar la práctica de este deporte, sino que en la vida privada y en la vida personal también les ha afectado de rutina.
I have shown you the truth about concussions in various sports, especially on the NFL. Now is your work to do whatever you want with it. You have to tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.